So here we have some palovnia trees. That is the place, by the way, where we had some water balance at some point. And this is pretty good soil because a lot of organic material was growing and got decomposed here. I don't know what these are. It's a weed of some sort. And it comes up, and what the sheep won't eat, we will then cut down with the scythe or a machete. But the thing that I wanted to mention is, these palovnia trees have leaves there at the bottom. And they are here for biomass, so this is not the wood production management regime, but it's the other one for biomass. That means tree, grow as you like. I don't mind, as long as you provide biomass. Versus I have to remove all the fresh branches to maintain a clean trunk. So here, that's the other way. And they are not protected for the sheep or from the sheep, because the idea is, if the sheep nibbles down there, then that's okay, because they're kind of pruning. And they will probably do this at some point if the rest of the vegetation got decimated by them. It's not looking like this after just a few hours, but that is why there is no protection around. On the contrary, back here, there are two others. And then we have this electric fence, which protects the smaller ones that are less developed, because that area is not so good in terms of soil and moisture. So that little one here definitely needs some protection. You also can see the color is different. And those there, so they are lacking behind. And you can even see that some of the leaves don't have the perfect color. But then of course it was pretty dark over the last few days. And these are heat-loving trees. So that should now change. But you can also see that the soil is not very good. So there is a stark contrast in comparison with the other one. But at some point that will change. And of course now there is that noise, because this is shorting out on the ground. And I have a device in my pocket which also tells me that there's an electric fence. So let's step away a little bit. And there, these four ladies, they are waiting to see what the next move of the predator is going to be. I won't do them any harm, but they don't trust that. I want you to see inside of that little cage that we have there. That is where we kept the cats when they are very, very young. Let's see how it looks like. So there's food. And we do know that that orange colored cat, which impregnated the black one, does come here and takes the food. And then of course there's the other male that is hanging out here and waiting. But the black one has given birth. Juan told me that he has seen her a lot skinnier, so she must have given birth somewhere. We have no idea where she is hiding her babies. So she found a place. Juan is actually suspecting that she might have done this over there. So let's zoom in and find the place. Where is it? There. So that is an old house that got abandoned. That is where the current neighbor of that place was born and raised, and then the place got abandoned. So one thinks that maybe the kitties are over there. Who knows? And we are also planning to put some chicken wire on this side of the fence of the compound so that the kitties won't be able to go in there. Because if they do, they will not survive. So we try to avoid that. I did mention the new fence of the compound here in this area. So you see there a thick fence post. The concrete is curing. That holds it in place. And there is another one that is over there. And then there is a third one in the distance. You can see it. And you see also a little bit of string lying on the ground. So that is the future fence line. And that means that this will then move and give us some space here on this area, on this side, so that we can later put another fence that goes here and keeps that berm inside and out of the way. So basically we will regain this animal path so that we have a shortcut to the future quarantine shelter, which is going to be there. You might see there in the distance a piece of a door shining in the sun. So that would have been installed today, but because of all the rain that wasn't possible. So maybe tomorrow the guys can do it. So that door gets installed there, and once the concrete has set, then we can also modify that fence. So things are taking shape. And now where I'm standing, that is where we had the chili last time. We won't do anything here just yet because of all the other things. But you see, the chili did not regrow. The frost killed it. And now we have these things growing. And at some point this gets cut. And in the future we will then put something else here. For now it's okay, because as you can see, the soil isn't that great. So it's mostly that. And every bit of biomass is welcomed. So that should help. And we will see what the sheep will do here. I don't think that they will go for this, because you see there are little spines there. And they probably don't like that. Yeah, you see, down there. As a sheep, I would not try this. So this is probably a job for a machine or the side. In any case, it will be cut and decompose. Here there is pretty grass, and we also have some vetiver here. I hope that the sheep will not go for the vetiver. It's an exotic grass for them, and they will instead go for these. And that tree is also trying to create some offspring, which you can see here. Let's hope that the sheep will not go for these, so that we have a little bit more of that tree here. There are several, which is pretty good. And here in this area we can either keep this or use our power harrow, and also put some Sunham and Friends here in between the vetiver and that fence. We will see. But the sheep will tell us. So basically, if the sheep go here and they munch all this, then we might replace it with the other stuff, and then use the power harrow again, because this is also a pretty good area to grow some vegetables, like we did before. We tried squash, and for squash the nutrients were not enough, so that failed. But it's a good area, and the next batch of Palovnia trees for shade are going to be set along this also. But maybe they don't have to be that close, and these that we planted on the other side are going to do the job. We will see. The idea is, over there is south, and the sun, well, the sun here is very high, so there's usually not a very long shade during the day, but to give this area a little bit of shade. we will see how that goes. It doesn't have to be all palovnia, we can also plant some other things, which is a thing for the autumn and spring. So now during summer, whenever I talk about a tree, it's going to be palovnia, because that's the only tree that I know at the moment that is readily available. And we know how it behaves and likes the heat. So that is our go-to option. And they are easily turnable into wood chips, which is also a very good thing, because at the end we also need to feed what's in the soil, and wood chips are a pretty good way for that. And they grow back, so there's nothing wrong with these trees. And they are infertile, so they're not invasive. Well, this morning we got quite a bit of rainfall. You can see these puddles there. And now I will take opportunity, or seize the opportunity of the sunshine that we now have. It is in the early afternoon, to show you a little bit around what else has happened. So here I managed to fill up quite a bit of this low area in between of the future garden. It takes a while to move all this material, and it's actually quite a bit of material. So it's not so simple, but this all came out of the pond, which is now not deeper, but it is deeper in more areas. And I also managed to put up a few more stones there that came out of this area where that wall collapsed. So this is looking a little bit cleaner now. I still have to pick up that one and the big one there, but with that I need to be careful not to destroy the remaining wall, because that is an electric cable and it provides electricity for some lights inside of the building there behind in the cortijo. And we recently installed this before the wall collapsed. So let's not destroy it completely ourselves. It is working for the moment, and that's okay. So the pieces from there and also what came out of the pond is now here at the edge. The purpose is to mark this, so that when you come down there and go around here, you see that there is something, and it blocks you and makes you turn to either direction. Someone was asking about flowers. Yes, at the moment there are no flowers, except the mustard that is coming up again because of all the rainfall. And of course we have the sunflowers. But here in front of the corn, there are actually a few flowers. And I'm curious to see how they will look like. So in there are two different types of flowers. I had the seed, and we will see how they are going to look like. They are probably red and yellow at the end. We will see. We do have the mustard, the poppies, and also that flower there, which is also typical for this area. So we do have some wildflowers here, but of course there's not that much variety. But it's part of this, and they are natural and they belong to this area. But of course there are more, and what's missing we can seed, and that is the intention. Between two rain showers this morning we also did this. We put the sheep in here. There are only 4, we have 7. The other 3 are in a shelter. They need some medical treatment for some issue that they had. And once they are ready, maybe in a month or so, we can then let them join the rest of the flock. But these 4 sheep are now on food forest maintenance duty. Let's see what they're up to. With a little bit of sunshine, the pump that is in the well that is right next to the outflow of the water reservoir, we do get quite a bit of pressure. And as you can see, that connection there is not able to sustain it. Now that happens when the black pipe is a little bit uneven because of the sun, it expands and shrinks and all that. And then the seal does not work very well. So here we are losing a little bit of pressure and water. because everything else here is closed. So there is an outlet, and there is this shut-off valve, which is for the sprinkler in the garden. So at some point we need to fix this, but there's a plan to remove this from here and attach it to a thick fence post there, so that we have a central place where we can control these things and still have the water for the area here. And here are some other flowers, and as you can see, all this grew because of the rainfall, and the horses were here earlier, and this is a little bit shaded, so the situation is more favorable to all these different plants. And you see there are again those flowers, and that water from the leak flows into this, so it's not going to waste. It serves a purpose. So this area will be soaked. And I remember when I planted those trees here, the soil was bone dry, so only the surface, maybe the first 2 or 3 centimeters were wet, and everything below was bone dry. So with all the rain and also that, this should change now. So that's a positive thing. So this is not a problem, which is why fixing this isn't really a priority, because it costs nothing and it does some good here. Also, this area here on that back porch gets cleaned up step by step. We still need to remove that. It needs 2 people to carry it away. And as we are not using this area anymore to prepare horses, this also goes away. We can reuse that material. Now, one of the dogs called the others, and now they have to run to see what's up. So there's some territorial defense needed somewhere over there. Probably a dog on the neighbor's property got spotted. But Knut doesn't want to join the pack. And actually I see the others coming back. So some of the others, these 2 there. That is the usual routine. So whatever happens, one alerts the others, and then all 8 are on duty on defending the territory. That's what dogs do. Here we do have some more material. We will use this up at some point. Right now we are not planting trees, but probably when we do, or when we seed something and need something to cover it up, then this mix of straw and manure will come in very handy. And I have to say that Sakahawea, the blind mare, is getting a lot better, and she's consuming straw again, which means she will get fat, basically, because right now she's very, very, very skinny, so she will get a normal body again, and she will produce this material, which is also a benefit for us. So there was a bacterial infection caused by some parasite, and that caused loss of appetite, and she also had this problem in her teeth, which is now fixed. So every time she tried to chew, it hurt, and so she stopped chewing, and that contributed to the weight loss, because a horse needs to chew in the mouth a lot, and if she just swallows the food, then it will not be processed and the nutrients cannot be taken out as it should be, and the result is weight loss. But now this is fixed, now being fixed with some medicine and food, and I will now open this gate and go inside and see what the sheep there are up to. Of course they see me and already get frightened. They're not used to human presence, but they still have a purpose. So let's see what they're up to. And of course on the other side the dogs are vigilant, because there is nothing that escapes them. And as long as that something does not get into the compound, it is just being watchful and barking. But if that something gets into the compound, that's a bad idea.